Good morning. It's 7:04 on this Tuesday, April 18th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are glad to have you with us this morning. And, of course, each Tuesday, we're on the air for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Today is one of those Tuesdays when not only do we have Tracy Pope, who is the Director of Community Relations, but we have a medical professional who's going to be here and going to be an interesting program. So I hope you'll stay with us. Tracy, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
How are you?
Great.
Sun's been looking great for the last 2 days anyway.
It has a little chilly, but yes, the sun has been out. And, we just wanted to start out by thanking everyone that participated and came out last Saturday to the Wilson County Heart Walk that was presented by the American Heart Association. Our partners at the Nashville Super Speedway were so kind to let all of us, enjoy their property and go out. I know it was a chilly morning. It was the first Wilson County Heart Walk that I can remember. I've heard from others that this was a thing a long time ago. So I know that we're wanting to build awareness and just hope that it can be a continued event that people will enjoy in the springtime and come out and celebrate the American Heart Association.
Everything great setting there at the raceway.
It was, yes. We are so thankful to have that facility here in Wilson County. It was large, plenty of space, and I'm sure that we will work on things to make it even better next year.
Yeah, all right. Well, good report. You want to introduce our guests this morning?
Yes, we have Laura Williams-Markham. She's our patient experience coordinator with us. We're excited to hear what she has to say today.
Well, Laura, good morning and welcome again.
Good morning.
And I say again, I don't know how many times you've been here, but at least once, right?
I've been here a few.
Okay. Very, very good. Now, but since it has been a little while, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you'd like everybody to know about your wonderful past.
Okay, my name is Laura Williams-Markham. I am the patient experience coordinator for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter. I am like to call myself a very seasoned nurse. It's kind of like that cast iron skillet that you have. I've taken on a lot of roles and a lot of flavors through the years. I have a background in neonatal intensive care and in women's health. And I am also a resident of Wilson County.
What got you started in the medical profession?
I always wanted to be a nurse growing up. My mom said I used to take care of my baby dolls and line them all up and take care of them. And I just had a burning desire to be a nurse. And I'm one of those individuals who didn't become a nurse until a little bit later in life. I became a nurse when I was 30 years old. And I can't stress enough that if you have a goal and something that you've always wanted to do, especially being a nurse, it's never too late to start. Get out there and do it.
Were you that old when you started the medical profession? Did you do something totally different until you were 30?
Yeah, before that, I had my own business, and I also had previously worked as like an executive secretary, done multiple things, and always wanted to be a nurse, but just never thought I had what it took to be a nurse, but I did.
Why would you think that?
Sometimes you just think about how hard something might be, and nursing school's not easy, but I made it.
Yeah,
I made it.
But you've changed you've done several things over the years, I guess.
I have. Throughout my career, I started off working in a normal nursery and then worked my way up, started doing intensive care for neonates, and then in 2018, I actually transferred to the facility here in Lebanon and became the director of women's services.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've done several different things, but probably your experience there has helped you in doing what you're doing now. So let's talk about your current position.
Well, my current position is the patient experience coordinator, and I like to explain what patient experience is. It is really the sum of all interactions that is shaped by the culture of Vanderbilt that influences the patient's perception of their care. from the beginning of their visit, from making their appointment, all the way through to discharge and to aftercare. And I help with all of those interactions. I become involved anytime that there is a concern on a patient's behalf or a family's behalf.
Well, how important is this patient experience coordinator?
I think it's a really important role because I act as a patient advocate, and patient advocates really benefit patients and their families. Being an advocate can be as simple as providing care to a patient or working with a group that makes policies or provides advice to those groups about the patient's voice and what the patients want to see. And sometimes my role can be just as simple as listening to a patient or a family member about a concern, or it can involve educating the patient, the family, the visiting process. It can also be a supportive role between the healthcare providers and the patient and patient's family.
Well, you are kind of caught in between the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis and a patient who might have had an experience that they have some, well, let's say some complaints about. And you're kind of in the middle here trying to reconcile things, right? I
am the mediator a lot of times. And sometimes, concerns can be just basically a misunderstanding, or, you don't quite understand the process or what to expect. Mm-hmm. Whenever we encounter a hospitalization, you walk in with really a stress level of about a 4 out of 10 because you're nervous about what's going to happen. You might just have a scheduled procedure. You have to find your way to where you're going, which is stressful. But we really try to take the stress out of that as much as possible. When you come into the hospital, you come into friendly people, and every one of those team members are basically a member of a caregiving army, and we're all on the same team, and our goal is to provide safe and excellent care for our patients.
And that is where Laura and I have been so fortunate enough to experience this Vanderbilt transition and the culture that we really have at our hospital now. Vanderbilt provides our staff with the resources and the technology and the support to do their job well and to support the patients and the family members. And that is a huge difference from what we saw before Vanderbilt, acquired our hospital. I think if you have a safe and healthy work environment, that you can have such a better culture, and that's what we've been able to experience.
So the patient experience is a big thing, and an even bigger thing now with Vanderbilt than it was before. I mean, is that a fair statement?
That's an absolutely true statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vanderbilt really cares about what the patients have to say. Your voice matters, and we have opportunities for patient feedback, not only in the hospital. We do something called eye rounding, and that is where our leaders, our charge nurses, administration, we make rounds to the patient's rooms and check in with them so that if we encounter a concern, we can act on it in real time and not wait until after the patient goes home and we receive a survey.
And we as staff, we see that from the leadership all the way down. I mean, we see our leaders, the example that they set for us. And I have a close friend whose mother came to our hospital. They live in Mount Juliet. This wasn't something typical. They probably would not have picked our hospital years ago, but she knows me and the culture at the hospital, brought her mother here. And her mother to this day still says to let Carla in food and nutrition to tell her hello, because our food and nutrition staff were just so wonderful when they went in to visit with her, that really made a difference. So it can be anyone. We have so many care members that are part of the team, like Laura was saying, the Army that takes care of you. Every single person can make a difference.
Well, you are looking for feedback, I suppose, all the time. Do you have a system of obtaining feedback?
We do. Between our rounds, I also provide rounds and go in and check in with families. But we have multiple ways to receive feedback, and one of those ways is the survey that you get after you get care. And that might be a paper survey, or it might be an electronic survey that we send you through a text message. And whenever we get those surveys back, of course, we want to have a great survey. Everybody wants a great report card, you know? But we also pay attention to those comments that are not so kind, and the comments that say, hey, you know, I didn't experience things the way that I really wanted them to be, and it was because of this. We look at all those comments and take those to heart, and then those comments lead to future positive changes for other patients and other visits to come. So the feedback really matters.
Okay, our program is presented each Tuesday at this time by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Today, Laura Williams Markham, Patient Experience Coordinator, is here along with Tracy Pope, the Director of Community Relations. We're going to take a break and more coming up here on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:14. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, lifetime brake pad guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns the vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Quite a bit of traffic volume right now coming down through Madison on 65 southbound. As you continue past Broadley Parkway, Wilson County traffic's been in pretty good shape so far with our fingers crossed. This morning, 40 west is still moving, coming through Mount Juliet, headed towards Nashville. 24 up through the Hickory Hollow area is heavy, right on schedule. Behind it, you got all that traffic pushing in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. Snapdragon Hemp, serving up lab-tested, top-shelf hemp products, edibles, flowers, concentrates. Check them out online at snapdragon420.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
Coleman & Company, thanks for joining us again. Our program presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Laura Williams Markham here, Patient Experience Coordinator, along with Tracy Pope. Now, Laura, back to you. What projects are you currently working on at Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital?
Well, I wear a lot of hats, but I'll tell you, one of my most important projects is acting as the facilitator for the Patient and Family Advisory Council. This council is a group of current or former patients and family members that work together to advance the best practices at our hospital. We meet every other month from 6 to 8 p.m., and we discuss ways to enhance the patient experience. And we're looking to provide improved quality and safety outcomes. And we're really excited because our Patient and Family Advisory Council, it celebrated its 1-year anniversary this past November. And we are just moving on, and we have a set of goals for the year, and we are just checking off those goals and making some really great changes.
Well, now, have you been a part of that from the beginning?
I have.
Yeah. Are you the one mainly, maybe he got it going, set it up?
Yes, I worked with some members from the main campus. We have patient and family advisory councils at every Vanderbilt hospital. And I worked with one of the leaders there, Terrell Smith, and Lisa Cunningham, who is the chair of our council. And they really helped with the support of our administration to get this council going.
How many members, or approximately how many members you have on the council?
We currently have 10 members, but we are looking for more. We're looking to gain about another 5 members.
So you'd like to have maybe 15 permanent, and how long? What are you? I'm sure there are people who would like to do that. There's some who might have to be asked and might consent. And how have you determined who's been on there so far? The 10 you have, say.
So we have obtained those through different means. A couple have been through actually patients who have reached out, or a family member who's reached out and had a concern, a legitimate concern. And when I heard that concern, I thought this individual would be a great person to speak to this area. So we have gained a few members that way, but we've also gained members who have looked at some of our signage in the hospital and said, hey, this is something I really want to join. I want to be a part of helping to develop the strategy of the hospital and ways to improve things.
Well, you get 15 people, you get 15 maybe different ideas of things that could be done and things that could be implemented. Does the group work well together?
They work so well together, and they come together every year and vote on a set of goals for the hospital that they want to be able to check off, at the end of the year. So we have a great sense of accomplishment. We've made some great changes so far, and this year we have some great goals. It can be a simple goal. Like one of the goals for this year is to improve our hospital linen quality. So we're working on that, but they can also be as much as setting up a support system to provide care for the caregiver, because a lot of times caregivers kind of take a back seat and they don't take care of themselves as well because they're busy taking care of others. So we want to also, reach out and help support the caregivers.
Well, who can be on this council?
So anybody can be on the council. If you have been a patient or the family member of a patient that is a previous patient or a current patient, you just have to have had an experience with our hospital within the last 2 years.
All right, and what are you if you agree to be a member? What are you obligating yourself for? Some meetings, no doubt, input, but what is expected of somebody on the council?
So things that are expected, there is an application process. You apply, and then depending on the needs that we have for the council approves other council members to be there. But it's expected that you show up to the meeting, that you have a voice. We teach storytelling, which is so important. We have patients who come in and they tell their story in such a unique way, and it affects others. And that story is sometimes posted on social media. And but we expect you to just have a voice and really work with the other team members. Sometimes we ask you to be on a certain committee and get involved that way, but there are lots of opportunities on the council.
Approximately how often you meet?
We meet every other month on the second Tuesday, and it's just for 2 hours from 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay, so that's really 6 times a year. Yeah. Well, that's not asking all that much, really, but you want some people, no doubt, who are dedicated, who really have a feel for what they're going to be doing here. And I would think somebody that really can listen to, now some people can complain about the most least little things, and you know that. You probably hear it all the time. Others are reluctant to say anything bad. I mean, it runs the whole gamut. But you are seeking feedback from the patients, and this council is supposed to listen to all of that, right?
Yeah, our council members bring us experiences from varying departments or varying aspects of care that they've received. Like we have, maybe someone who's been treated for cancer. We have someone who's had been through the heart issues. We had someone who came in with an emergency, and we performed a life-saving technique in our emergency department that was really an amazing event. They have a fantastic story, but that individual stayed with us for about 2 months and went through almost all of our departments and ended up at rehab. So this person and their family were able to speak to so many different aspects of care, from the person who came in to draw their blood to respiratory therapy to nursing to x-ray and CT. And we love to gain their experience and feedback. And not all feedback is going to be positive. Some feedback is positive, and we love that. So we just, that's low-hanging fruit. We just pick those cherries and move on to the hard things.
Yeah.
But sometimes we do have barriers, and when we hear about those things, our administration is really set to move on these things and make the experience better. Anything that involves safety or patient experience and improving the quality, we're all about it.
Well, from listening to you here, it sounds like the whole hospital really cares, and you're not sweeping anything under the rug, really. If it's any kind of complaint, you're at least going to listen to before you dismiss it.
Yeah, there are, some complaints that are minor. We can't always please everyone all the time. We know that. And we're not perfect, but we strive to provide excellent care at Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. It's so important for us, and we really want the community to know that we have changed by leaps and bounds, and we have improved over the last 3 years in such an amazing way, and we have a ways to go, but we are working on it, and their voice, their input really helps us to get there.
Okay, let's say we've got a few people out here that's listening and might want to be on the council. What steps should they take to let you know or to apply? Talk about that, if you will.
Yeah, there's an application process, and if you want to Google Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, or you can go to vanderbilthealth.com. You'll go to the bottom of the page and you'll look for the link that says Patient and Family Engagement. You can click on that, and there's some links to get you where you need to go to apply. But if you are looking for someone directly to contact, I can give a phone number. It is 615-343-5660. One more time, 615-343-5660. And we will certainly get you an application and a packet sent to you in the mail and get moving on that.
All right. Again, you'd like to have a few more. You've got about 10. You want as many as 15 on this council, and meet every other month for a 2-hour meeting, and then there are other things you're going to be involved in. But if you're someone who considers yourself somewhat of a problem solver, that's the kind of person I would think that you'd be looking for.
Yeah, we want people who can think of different ways to help solve the problems. And sometimes, we see things from just one perspective, our perspective, and sometimes we get busy in our medical jargon and how we talk to patients or things that we do, and we just live that life every day. But sometimes we need the patients to remind us, hey, I need you to slow down, and I need you to say it in a different way. I need you to say it in a language that I can understand. And so we have to remind our staff, to break things down a little easier.
And that's very important. And nearly every profession has its own language. So we have our own language in radio. If we started talking about some things and no one else that's outside, I wouldn't know what we're talking about. So it happens all the time, but you have to be aware of that at times.
Yeah, we have to stay aware of what our patients' communication needs are. Right. And we all understand things on different levels. But I think breaking it down to the simplest level is the best thing for all of us, because if I'm a patient, I want things broken down for me where I can understand them.
Well, I think you've told your story well this morning, Laura, and hopefully you're going to have lots more time and an enjoyable time being committed as the patient experience coordinator.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and glad to let people know that this position exists and we really care about our patients.
Tracy, back to you. I think we've told the story well this morning.
I know, absolutely. I'm so thankful that Laura came on the program with us. You know, when you think about the community that you live in, I think health and quality of life are right there at the top. And we just want the residents and the community members to think about our hospital as a staple and trust our hospital and know that, you know, our hospital is doing everything that we can to take care of our community and the residents and the surrounding communities.
And one more thing we might go back to. I know that you have these surveys that are available. Some of them are online, but you consider them very important. For a lot of us, we don't want to take time, and sometimes they can be a little time consuming, maybe take longer you want to tell, but it is important to you to know what the experience was and anything that you, especially if something that could be helped or eliminated, that's important to you.
It is. Those surveys are, you know, really gold for us. It can be time consuming for some people. You know, we live busy lives, and when you get that envelope in the mail and it has this, you know, paper that's 3 or 4 pages long, and you think about circling all these things and maybe writing some comments down. I know that not everyone wants to do that, but I can't stress to you how important it is for us to get those surveys back. And the only way that positive change will come is if we hear from you and we hear what we're doing right. We do want to hear those good things, but we also want to hear where we can improve.
All right. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it. Tracy, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coleman.
That is part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more, so please keep it here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, high performance, high horsepower, 0% financing is still a thing. Now is the best time to save on new Kubota L-Series tractors rated #1 for durability and owner experience in the U.S. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Right now, here's what we're looking at. Heavy traffic, of course, 24 out through the Hickory Hollow area, westbound 24 from Bell Road up by Hickory Hollow Parkway, coming in from Rutherford County, pretty much on schedule. Down through Wilson County right now, that's been in pretty good shape, just busy through the Mount Juliet area, especially westbound I-40, leaving Wilson County, headed towards Nashville. Lots of radar in Dixon County up and down the interstate this morning. Hey, Nash Painting Services, all of Middle Tennessee. If you're considering getting your house painted this spring or summer, check with these guys first. NashPainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
And now, a moment of silence to remember our dear friend.
Sorry. Oh, man. Life can be uncomfortable. Your home doesn't have to be. With a wide range of air conditioners, furnaces, and heat pumps, Rheem makes it easy to feel comfortable, even when you can't be comfortable. Jeez.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Attention Cumberland University baseball fans, where has the season gone? The Phoenix baseball team will play their final home games next Friday, April 21st and Saturday, April 22nd. The team is currently in first place in the Mid-South Conference, is one of the best offensive teams in the nation, and senior Cole Turney leads the entire country in home runs and batting average. So if you haven't made it out to a game so far this season, this is your last chance. Come on out to the 6 and cheer these guys on to the championship. All games can be heard on these radio stations or on GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Go Phoenix.
A chilly start to the day, but we are in for a big warm-up by the afternoon. We'll be climbing out of the 40s this morning with mostly sunny skies. Look for a high of 79 for the day with temperatures in the 50s overnight. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number 1 Ned.
Coleman and Company, we welcome you. It's part 2 here on a Tuesday morning. And Sean Dozier joins us. He's going to talk about Hearthside Senior Living. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
You're laughing at me.
Well, you don't need any notes for Hearthside.
Well, I get caught off guard every once in a while, don't I? Running my big mouth.
It's great to be here. It's always great to be here on Tuesday. Coleman, we're full in the assisted living, full in the independent living. I want to talk a little bit about the wait list. What does that mean when you're on a wait list? For the independent living, it's a guessing game because, we don't know exactly when folks are going to be moving out of the home. So we have several people on the waiting list, and they're always calling, wanting to know where they are. And I always tell them to have a plan B or plan C, just in case when they're ready to move, Hearthside is not available for the independent living. And they always agree to that. They're always looking at other options, looking at other places when they're on that wait list, because obviously we've got several people on there, and the independent living is very popular. For the assisted living, when you're on the wait list, a lot of folks call a month ahead of time or 2 months ahead of time, or sometimes even 6 months ahead of time and say, hey, my mom or dad, or even I'm going to move into assisted living, but I'm not quite ready. So we put people on a waiting list for the assisted living. And when we have a room available, we'll call them and say, hey, are you ready? Or, is this a good time for you? And if not, we'll just keep them on the list. So those are kind of the two ways we work the wait list at Hearthside. But it's a good problem to have, and we're pleased that the independent living homes continue to be very popular. I continue to add people to that list, even though I tell them, hey, again, have a plan B or plan C just in case. And then for our assisted living, I had 2 people call yesterday and said, put me on the wait list. And I said, I certainly will. We're not quite ready yet, but I said I'll call them when we have one available. Yeah. And they're happy to do that because they know if they wait, they're going to get good customer service, they're going to get compassion, and they're going to get good communication from our staff, and that's what we try to do.
Well, the story has gone well for Hearthside over the years. I don't think there's any question about that. You have a reputation, and I think you've even improved it, but certainly lived up to what's expected, and that means a lot.
It means a lot to me. I remember those folks who started it, and I want to continue to make sure Hearthside continues to have a good reputation. We have great folks that work for us, and over the years we've been able to provide good customer service, and our prices are very, very good because, as I often say, we don't nickel and dime you. We give you one price. It's a very reasonable price, and that way families are able to plan, and individuals are able to plan long term. Because when you're in those communities, you have to sort of plan long term. Do I have the finances? Do I have the resources available for several years? So we make sure we give them a good price, and that's why people are choosing Hearthside, not only for the community, the building, the staff, but also for the price as well.
Yeah, and of course, you are locally owned and managed.
We're locally owned and managed.
A lot.
I tell people, here's my cell phone number. They're often surprised that I give them my cell phone number because oftentimes they don't get that at other places. And, I'd rather them call me first than call somebody else. We have posters all over the building. They can call the ombudsman, they can call the state, they can call this or that, and I'd rather them just call me. And that way I can at least try to solve the problem before it gets out of hand. And I got a call last night at 1:30. I thought, what's going on, 1:30? And I answered it, and somebody hung up on me. So it wasn't a problem. So
maybe it was a wrong number.
Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, you just never know what might happen, and we want to be there to solve the problem before it gets out of hand.
Well, there's... you had a great location. We talk about that a lot. 215 Castlights Avenue North, right in really the heart of town. And people, everybody's not confined to that. They can come and go.
Yeah, we have several residents. We have a gentleman that has an F-150 truck. He goes to church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. Goes down there to church down the road, and I see him walk back up sometimes, and he's, assisted living is not, you're not necessarily stay there all the time. You go out a lot. In fact, we took a group last week to eat, and a lot of folks go out with their families and friends, and it's their home, so they come and go as they please, and that's what makes it really great. And you're right, the location is fantastic. I love the location. It's right there in the heart of the city, close to everything. We have a gentleman who doesn't drive, but he actually walks to the Senior Citizens Center and walks down to the park a lot. So those sidewalks are important. So I'm looking forward to that Hill Street sidewalk.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a great location, and it's a beautiful, beautiful campus, and it looks really great now. Robin Carr, many of you know him. He ran the was it Ponderosa or Bonanza for many, many years. Anyway, he lives there in our independent living, and he's volunteering to do some some landscaping, some flowers and things. He has a kind of a hobby for that. So he really makes the campus look really good. He's been working on it the last several days.
All right, how about a horse side hello?
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of our location, Jay Bradshaw lives right, I can see his house from Hearthside right when I walk out my office door, and he walks down the Hill Street a lot and always waves to our residents, and today is his birthday, so I wanted to give Jay Bradshaw, if he's listening, I hope he's listening. If it's not, somebody tell him that Sean gave him a Hearthside hello and a happy birthday.
All right, that's great. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Coleman.
We'll do it again next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
All right. Sean Dozier, Executive Director, Hearthside Senior Living, 215 Castle Heights Avenue North. Mike Jennings is here as my regular guest. Good morning to you. We got a lot to talk about, but going to do something different this morning. And I'm on the telephone. I have a gentleman named Judd Patterson who is in, I think, in one of the Carolinas, but he's from Hartsville and Trousdale County. Went to high school over there. He's got a quick story to tell us this morning involving Paul Revere. And Judd, are you there?
I am here.
Well, good morning and welcome to our program.
Well, thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Well, you got a lot to go, and we got a short time to get there, so I'm going to let you have it. Tell us what this is all about.
Well, when I was in high school, I graduated class of 72, and so 71, 72 was my senior year. We had a teacher named Mary Agnes Chitwood, and she was a force to be reckoned with. She taught English Lit and American Lit, English, and she was the one who took us on our senior trip. But she, when she taught us, she didn't just get up there and lecture and expect us to write things down and memorize it. She made us act things out, like little parts of Shakespeare plays and stuff. But one of the things that she taught us, and it was more in passing, but somehow the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere poem came up that Longfellow had written. And she said, the reason that Paul Revere gets credit for that ride is because of this poem. There was actually another person that really was the one that got through to warn that the British were coming. And so I was a bit intrigued. And I looked it up, and I studied a little bit of the history, and I found out that there were actually three men on that ride. They were Samuel Prescott, William Dawes, and Paul Revere. Well, they all were stopped, but Samuel Prescott managed to get away and complete the ride. So I thought, I'm gonna write Miss Chitwood a poem and try to give Samuel Prescott the credit that he's due. So I did, and it got published in the local paper, and she thought it was cute. So we're not talking about any Nobel Prize for poetry here, but it was fun. And then years later, after I had moved from Hartsville and gotten a job and all, on April the 18th, because this all happened on an April the 18th, and it so happened it was a Tuesday night. So today is Tuesday. So it's 248 years ago today that this happened. So anyway, I called Miss Chitwood, and I said, do you have a copy of that poem? This was one April the 18th, probably in the mid-90s. And she said, I do, but I don't know where it is. And a few weeks later, she called me, and she had found it. So she sent me a copy. And then from then on, every April the 18th, I would call Miss Chitwood, and we would chat about what had happened over the previous year. And anytime I came to Hartsville for, say, a high school reunion or to visit, I would always stop by her house, and we would have a chat. And in 2006, on April the 18th, I called Miss Chitwood. We had our regular chat. And 4 days later, one of my classmates called me to tell me that Miss Chitwood had died. In her favorite chair in her house. So I was always thankful that we had that connection.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, do you got into that poem you want to share with us?
So I will read the poem right now. It's called The Midnight Ride of Samuel Prescott. Now, my children, believe it or not, is the midnight ride of Samuel Prescott. It was Tuesday night on April 18, and the trio of patriots was not to be seen. So along with Revere and Dawes, Samuel rode, when the light in the belfry tower finally showed. They went their own way as fast as they could, but in Revere's way some Britishmen stood. Revere started thinking right on the double of many excuses to stay out of trouble. He was later released in thanking the Lord that Prescott had managed to alert Concord. So now we can thank our man Sam Prescott for surprising the British with an opening shot. And thus began the war of all wars that sent the Redcoats to their England shores. So that was it.
That's really good.
It survived. It survived for 50-something years, and here I am on the radio talking about it still.
Well, I appreciate you contacting me and being able to be with us today. I've enjoyed our little visit here. If you're ever over here and we can arrange it, well, I'd like to have you to come out and be live in studio, be my guest. But otherwise, thanks so much for this today. We've enjoyed it, Judd.
Well, and when I get over there, I'll certainly give you a call and stop by.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Well, Mike Jennings.
It is the anniversary of the Midnight Ride.
That's interesting to say the least, but it shows you the influence too of the teacher.
It does, and 2 or 3 things I want to say. Number one, this is one of my brother's birthdays. Second is Scott. Today's his birthday. The second thing is he talked about graduating in 72. That was a great year. That's a year I graduated as well. But everybody, I bet Coleman, yourself, myself, everybody's got one teacher that was instrumental in helping them. And I don't know if I told you the story about mine or not, but something she told me one time, and I had such a good relationship with her. I told her she was crazy, and she laughed, but she told me I'd be mayor of Watertown one day. And I said, Miss Bass is Dorothy Bass. And I said, Miss Bass, you're crazy. And she laughed. She said, wait and see.
We usually start talking UT sports. Let's do it on the other side of the break. Any big thing out of the meeting last night?
Not a lot. It was a quick meeting, and probably the last meeting we'll have before we swing into the budget process.
All right. Mike Jennings, our county attorney, and that's about last night's meeting. We'll talk a little bit more about that and other things after this break. You're on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:46, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and get $50 off, $250 repair offer to owners of 4 to 10-year-old Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still some traffic volume on Vietnam Vets trying to get onto 65 going southbound. That's been pretty heavy at times there up by Conference Drive. I still see heavy traffic on 24 westbound trying to get out of Rutherford County into Davidson up through the Hickory Hollow area as you come through Antioch, leaving Murfreesboro headed towards Nashville just to play it safe. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. We've seen radar, quite a bit of it actually, I-40 down certain parts of Dixon County this morning. Hey, Prince's Hot Chicken is catering. They're online for you to see that menu at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
At Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, world-class care is a heartbeat away. In fact, we offer the same world-class attention Middle Tennessee has come to rely on from a Vanderbilt Health Hospital. Supported by over 200 specialties, an expanded emergency department staffed with Vanderbilt Health physicians 24/7, and greater investments in life-saving technologies and care. It's just one more way we're making healthcare personal.
Coleman and Company, we thank you for joining us. Mike Jennings, our county attorney, is here. A little bit different start this morning, but that was interesting.
That was interesting, and I don't know how many people remember those things on April 18th, but it was a significant day in history.
Well, okay, you've been making regular trips to Knoxville, I know.
You know, Coleman, I've seen Tennessee play 5 times this year and hadn't seen them play at home yet. I went to the desert and saw them open the season. Lost 3 out there. No, that's not right. I have seen them win 1. We won 1. And then I went out to Arkansas this weekend with some friends, and they handled us pretty easily Friday night and Saturday night. Not easily, but they beat us. And then we didn't stay Sunday. We came back Sunday morning. So the Arkansas is pretty good. And Arkansas and Vanderbilt play, I believe, the last weekend of the season. In Nashville, I believe.
I talked to my son last night who has access to some tickets occasionally. I think we may be going to one of those.
I think you'll enjoy the baseball. Arkansas is a good team, got good pitching. Tennessee had excellent pitching. The guy, one of the games we lost, our starter went out giving up only 2 hits, but we played defense like a little league team. We had 3 errors Friday night and 2 Saturday night at critical times, not where a pitcher could pitch around it, and it cost us. So Arkansas and Vanderbilt will be a good series.
Been some controversy with your coach. Is things leveled off there?
Yeah, I think so. He's just kind of outspoken and says what's on his mind, and Arkansas was lying in wait. You know, we had a little dust up when they came up to Tennessee 2 years ago, and they were lying in wait, and we got there, we knew it. They were nice to us, but you could tell they wanted it. But he coached over there for a while.
Okay.
And he made the comment, I didn't hear it, but my Arkansas friend that went with us said that he said, we're about to go this weekend to the Mecca of SEC baseball. And when you get over there, you see they've got an outstanding stadium, a museum, and they did it up right this weekend and beat us.
Well,
all 3. He swept us.
You still practice law. You're still the county attorney.
I am.
You're
I
pretty
do.
much required to be at each county commission meeting, and that's why we got you in the beginning.
Yeah,
I've been here ever since.
Yeah, I took a little break last night for a few minutes. I coach a little 7- and 8-year-old team, and we played at 6 o'clock last night, and my other coaches had to be out of town, or one of them did. So I went to that, and I got to the county commission about 7:45 or so.
But, there was a number of people there who do their reports. This was the meeting where you have everybody has a report. Some will just submit it, I understand. Others will get up and wax eloquent, perhaps. But any surprises there?
If there were, I didn't hear them. I missed that part. I got there while we were doing resolutions. I will say, and I'm sorry I missed both of these. We honored a young man from Lebanon, Jared Hall, as Mr. Basketball, and going to the University of Tulsa, and then Gretchen Wilson, the country singer. She has been very instrumental in assisting our animal control people. She has donated some money, donated some different things, and we even have a little fund that has her name on it. She raises money and others contribute to it, and it helps our animal control employees who do a great job, by the way. And then when I got there, they were going through the resolutions pretty quick, no controversy. We had one that generated some discussion, and that was hiring an additional person in juvenile services. And the only discussion was not that it wasn't needed. Everybody had agreed it was needed. The discussion was it should have been on the need. Some felt it should have been on the needs list and get voted on as part of next year's budget. But the people, Judge Tatum, Betsy Jakowski, said, we really need this person now. And so they ultimately approved that by only 2 negative votes. It was 24. So that was the only thing generated any discussion while I was there. It was a pretty sane meeting, I think.
What kind of process are we going to go through to get a budget going this year?
Well, it's preliminarily it's started, and what I mean by that is we have several committees that feed into the budget committee, and they are meeting now to consider different budgets. Animal control will consider theirs, EMA will consider the EMA budget, law enforcement, the sheriff's budget, and then it feeds into the budget committee, and that'll be going on first to the middle of May. Hopefully the goal is that you'll report a budget out from the budget committee by the end of May so that it can be on the June County Commission meeting, and I think it's fairly early this time. I think it may be June 17th. So it'll pick up. The wheels will start turning pretty quickly now, but some of it's already started.
But so much of this it's really a committee process.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't. There's so much work has already been done when it finally comes to the floor of the commission, and they already pretty much know whether they're for or against, or if they got most of their questions and concerns have already been aired through the committee process, right?
That's correct. And then this commission has been the best that I can remember of people that are not on committees attending those committees anyway and listening. So they're getting that information firsthand by being there. You know, we were joking last night, a couple of us sitting there talking, I think it's Bobby Franklin and myself. The process works. It works great. It's kind of like making sausage.
Yeah.
It may not be pretty, but you get a finished product.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's starting. I anticipate it being not smooth because there's always little hiccups where some people want more money and they can't get it or whatever. But I think it'll be okay.
Well, some of the questions that I would ask you, I really need to ask Aaron Maynard, and one of these days I'm going to get him out here again. But
he's a Vanderbilt guy. He'll talk to you. Y'all can talk.
Yeah, I know. It's been amazing how hard it is to even find a place for some people. I've been really busy, but now that the legislature is going to get adjourned, that's going to free up a little, and I'm gonna make up to some of these people that I've put off too long. I hope.
Yeah. I just heard on TV this morning they're going through some kind of lightning. They're going to try to close out this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's what they were saying. Senator Pody last Friday and Representative Lynn Monday yesterday said that they may go into Saturday this week, but they're thinking that they're going to adjourn by this Saturday.
Okay. It's their show.
We so far, what's it look like as extra appropriation? I mean, we've got inflation that we've got to deal with, and everybody's going to be asking, I would think, for a little more money for gasoline or diesel even. If that's a line item, there. I don't know about raises, but inflation, your dollar doesn't go as far when inflation hits, and that has to be considered. So I'm just wondering what all is going to be considered here before we're ready to vote on a budget.
Of course, we don't have a firm figure on growth money yet, and probably won't until down in May somewhere. But there'll be some growth money. But will there be enough to do everything we want to do? There never is. And lurking over everything, of course, is education and schools. But there'll be quite a few demands on that extra money. Coleman, going along with that, you know, I get out of Watertown sometimes, but I don't get much further west than Lebanon. But I went to pick up a friend Friday on the way to Arkansas, and we went through the west part of northwest part of this county. I didn't realize how much building is going on. And I'm not talking about single family homes. I'm talking about condominiums and all these new things that they're building now, hundreds of, and I'm thinking, where are we putting these people and how are we going to keep up building schools? And I'm sure the people in education are wondering about that too. I just digressed a little bit, but I was shocked. I guess I need to get out of town a little bit more every now and then. Just look around.
I wonder about our roads too. In fact, I see deterioration that's not being repaired, and you can fix it now or you can fix it later, and the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get and probably going to cost more.
And I overlooked that, but that is a serious consideration as well. So there's always demands on county government, and there's so many things that cities do, but counties are responsible for several things on their own: education, jails, landfill. All those things have to be done, and if you don't think the landfill, if that doesn't work properly, if you don't think that won't raise a hue and a cry, let that go south. So,
well, all you got to do is, like some of our big cities have had happen to them, let the garbage remain in place for a while, and you've got a mess. And we don't want that.
We don't want that, and we're fortunate we don't have that. We're about to be in a lot better shape with our correctional system with the opening of the new jail in a few months. But communications, you talked about gas and oil and diesel. Communications costs are up. We had one resolution last night that doled out some extra money to about 6 or 7 departments because their communications budgets are up. So all those things, it's inflation. You have to deal with it.
Well, we got 2 minutes to talk about Watertown here. How are things?
Well, I think we're doing okay. Don't have a whole lot to report right now. We'll have a council meeting sometime next week. Not going to have it tonight, but we'll schedule it today for one night next week. We have some of those growing pains as well on a smaller scale. We have smaller growth, but smaller money to deal with. So, and you always have to be concerned about your employees. You got to take care of your employees, and we're taking a good hard look at that.
I'm still wondering about your roads, and
yeah,
we were talking about maybe getting them all paved, or just about all.
Waiting to hear some more about the steps I got to go through to get that big money that that's been appropriated for us, and then we'll figure out. We'll get some bids and then see how much more money we need and make a decision. But my goal is still to pave them all, if not all, at least 90%.
Anything to mention about water or sewer?
No, still got to get that project up and going. I feel like I've been talking about it for years, and I have, but we've got to get that going. And right now, it's probably I need to do a little bit more work than what I've done in that area. So we'll get that done. And then we're still hustling money for the turntable. So got 3 major projects going on.
Well, by the way, I saw John Jewell over the weekend. He's working on the Jazz Festival.
Yeah. He talk about hustling now. John will hustle. He'll get that Jazz Festival in check.
He's another one I got to find a place for here before long. But it's good to have him back doing the Jazz Festival.
It is, and I've had 2 or 3 people from other communities ask me, "Why don't y'all do that Jazz Festival?" And I said, "Well, hey, guess what?" And they know now that we're doing one.
Mike, always good to have you. Thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Do it again in May.
All right.
That is it for a Tuesday. And hope you'll join us tomorrow for the Wednesday edition. And until tomorrow, I wish you a terrific day.